Let's say one day you get coughed on. You don't know why, but think, okay. Then you look around and you see all these tiny little water particles in the air. That's when you realize you're actually going to be sick. By this point, the virus has probably entered your bloodstream and is searching for a host cell. Right now, there are 4 different virus types that you need to be worried about. The first viral type is known as the envelope. It is the most common and has a spherical shape. The next viral type is similar to the envelope. It's the icosahedral. It has a geometric shape made out of triangles. The next viral type looks very different from the others. It is the complex viral type, and is usually found in bacteriophages. The final viral type looks nothing like the others and is made of tightly wound proteins. This is the helical viral type, and is a cylinder shape. The good news is, we know which virus type you've been infected with. You have been infected with the envelope virus type. Cutting this open, we can see that it has many different parts. The outer layer is called the envelope, which holds the protein receptors. Inside this is the protein coat, which protects the DNA and RNA. What defenses do you have against these viruses? You actually have quite a lot. Your immune system actually splits them into 2 different sections, known as the innate and the adaptive immune system. The key differences between these two is that the innate immune system you've had since you were born, and the adaptive immune system takes a little while to become active. This is your innate immune system. The first cell in your innate immune system is the natural killer. It's the first responder to any infection or virus. The next cell is the macrophage. This cell literally eats viruses or bacteria. The next innate immune system cell is the neutrophil. This is the most common cell found in your immune system. The final cell is the dendritic cell. It's like a smart cell, in the terms that it can analyze foreign invaders. This is your adaptive immune system. The first cell in the adaptive immune system is the T cell, also known as the killer T cell. It's very similar to a natural killer cell. The next cell is the B cell. This cell acts as a factory for antibodies. The reason this is called the adaptive immune system is because each cell is specialized to fight one specific type of virus. Each cell also has its own form of memory, which it uses to remember what it fought. This is how you can become immune to certain diseases. These cells also have to be triggered by an external source, such as a dendritic cell. Now the virus has found its way to its host cell, and it begins its infection and reproduction process. There are 2 different viral cycles that you need to be aware of. They are the lytic and lysogenic cycle. Both of them create new viruses, but they do this in very different ways. The lytic cycle starts very simply. The virus docks with the protein receptor on the cell's surface, and it is let in through endocytosis. It then moves towards the cell's nucleus, where, along the way, it sheds its protective outer protein layer. The virus is then allowed entry into the nucleus. Once inside, the virus begins to straighten out its own genetic information. The virus's DNA is then transcribed into RNA, which leaves the nucleus and acts as directions for the ribosome. The ribosome is then forced to make new copies of the virus, and it will do this until the cell is too full of virus to continue this process. The lysogenic cycle starts in the same way as the lytic cycle. This virus enters the cell via endocytosis and is then moved towards the nucleus, where it sheds its protective protein layer. In the same way as before, the virus is led into the nucleus and begins to straighten out its genetic information. Here is where the two processes differ. The genetic information then incorporates itself into the genetic information of the cell. So now all daughter cells of this cell will be infected with the virus. Now every time the cell's genetic information is copied, a portion of it will be identical to the virus's genetic information. The virus's DNA is then transcribed into RNA in the same process as before, and hijacks a ribosome and forces it to create new viruses. Just like before, the cell will continue to create new viruses until it is too full to make any more. The infected cell then bursts open, spewing viruses and ribosomes everywhere. Viruses that come into contact with new cells begin the process all over again. At the same time, damaged cells begin to release signaling proteins, which attract the attention of neutrophil and natural killer cells. These begin to kill all cells that are infected in the area. The increase in damaged or dying cells begins to attract the attention of larger immune cells, like macrophages or dendritic cells. After days of fighting the infection, your immune cells become exhausted. So your dendritic cell picks up what it can from the battlefield and leaves, only to return with hundreds of thousands of new reinforcements from your adaptive immune system. After the introduction of your adaptive immune system, your body quickly fends off the infection. Thus concludes the process of the viral infection. The virus has been eradicated in its entirety and you are no longer sick.